Welcome. Today is the day. Today is the day that President Trump, the President of the United States, came to our hometown yet again, Rome, Georgia. I'm from Rome, Georgia. Born in Rome, Georgia. Lived most of my life in Rome, Georgia. And if you're a Republican or a MAGA supporter, someone who supports the president, this is a good day for you, I would think. Go and enjoy it. If it's easy to go see the president, I don't know because I'm not going. But good for you and enjoy the day. I want to point out that I can work with Democrats and I can work with Republicans, but I don't care for things that Donald Trump does, and I have made that perfectly clear since 2016. If you've heard me at all, you know I still can't abide by his tone, his tenor, the name calling. I don't think that's presidential or even adult, and I don't know why we have a president that we allow to do that. I don't know how we got into that position, but that's where we are. But I want to point out today some things that working people and people that support the president to show you that there's another side to this story. I think that we all kind of realize, if we're honest, that his trade policies have not worked out. He upset the global marketplace, the whole thing. He turned everything over when he imposed tariffs last year. It sparked a trade war. It disrupted everything and cost everybody money. The stock market crashed, and and most of all, there's was and still is a decline in the dollar. If you like a weak dollar or a strong dollar, kind of depends on who you are. If you're a consumer, small business person buying things from overseas, you did not want a decline in the dollar. It does help the ultra rich. He continues to do business while he's president. He allows or requires foreign officials and the wealthy to pay tribute to him, to give him large sums of money, to pay for things like that White House extension. Well, taxpayers aren't paying for it. Look here. And he makes the rich come and pay that, because if they don't, he might develop a policy against them. And that's not right. That's what he's doing. And that's really something that we should criticize him for, and even his supporters should say, quit doing that. The other thing he does, that if you look at it, now his critics, maybe if you're a supporter, you don't mind this. You don't want him criticized all the time. But it's the job of the journalistic community to criticize the president. They've done it since John Kennedy, and probably before that. But I know when I was growing up, I remember seeing it, and having John Kennedy complain about it. He complained about it in a much better way than Donald Trump, because Donald Trump is suing him. He sues them every time that and threatens to sue them, to anybody who says anything against him. That just doesn't. It's not grown up. It's not within what we want in our democracy. Now, on a few specific things for people who want, give me something that's real. Okay, what he did when he got into office, somebody had given him a financial contribution, and they were able to meet the president because they gave him, like $100,000 or something, and they hit it off, and so he gave him a little bit more. And it turns out they were in, the payday loan business, and so when President was elected, he dropped the lawsuit that the Department of Justice had against the payday loan industry. They were charging people up to 950% interest on these poor people who go to get these payday loans. And under the Biden administration, actually, they were trying to put an end to that, and he said no, just let it go. So see, that's not we have a lot of poor people in our district, and that's not in our interest. That's just a hardcore fact. He tried to shut down the Consumer Protection Bureau, and that is not in the interest of working class people or consumers. Why would he want to do that? Because he wants to favor the large companies, and he could not quite get it shut down, so he took away their budget. They don't have any money to work with, and he got rid of all their senior employees, so they're basically powerless. And it tells you a little bit right there. I mean, why would we want a weaker Consumer Protection Bureau. I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat. I don't understand the thinking there. On the very first day in office, the president made a point of shutting down. Well, he didn't shut down because it's a 23 country organization, but he separated the United States from the Organization for Economic Cooperation. Now, what that did was they tried to get at this offshore profits, as you know and have complained about for years, all of us have, that these large corporations are putting their profits offshore, and we don't have the ability to go out and look at their tax returns because it's not in our country. So 23 countries got together and said, look, if you won't show us your bookwork, we're going to charge you a flat rate of some amount of taxes so that we'll at least get something from you. And President Biden went along with that. He was in that organization. The first day, President Trump removed us from it. So that tells you who he's for. That leaves us to pay more taxes because he's helping big business. He's definitely the president of big business. And when he helps big business, when he helps the wealthy, that leaves us to pay for more of government. And one of the thoughts that they try to give us for years and years and years and decades is, well, we need to shut down the size of government. Government is too big, and if we would just shrink the size of government, then that will make a difference for us, and everybody will be more efficient. Business can do better. We'll keep more of our own money. Well, I've been at this for 40 years. I can tell you that when they say that, you don't notice it in your paycheck at all, but they've shut down somebody that is providing a good service, that usually helps working people and puts more requirements on the large corporations. That's the way it generally works. You're not going to be able to save your way into prosperity. The size of government is something that you can't cut and think we're going to have a better economy from that or lower taxes. And, you can't get there from here. You've got to have policies that help the working class, that reinstate our old wage levels back to what we were getting before government, didn't quit protecting us. Government is not a business. That's the wrong yardstick to look at. I was in the computer business for 25 years, and I can tell you that if you were to look at some of the companies that I worked with, and some of them were very, very big, multinational, biggest companies in the world, and I tell you, they make gigantic mistakes. So, for one thing, so businesses are not always perfect. And when we have a mistake like happened up in Minnesota with some kind of a plan where we lost hundreds of millions, maybe billions, that we don't even know yet, that's not a reason to take it out on government. What you need is more oversight and maybe look at that program. But government performs vital functions that individuals and corporations cannot do or should not do, and we've got to have a healthy government. In our town of Rome, Georgia, the government's not that big. You can go down to the courthouse and see them. Most of them are people we went to school with. For a long time, I had a couple of people that worked there and went to high school with. So it's not that government is evil. It's our friends, and they work and do a hard job, and they're not paid as much as they ought to be paid. So there's some of the things I wanted you to think about, even though you're enjoying the presidential visit. I just want to let you know that the president's not always right. He doesn't always work in the interest of working people and the people in the types of incomes that we make here in our district. But if you'll send me to Congress, I will.